Just call him America's favorite zookeeper. In fact, it's not unusual to see Jack Hanna covered in animals, or maybe feeding ostriches, or maybe even getting up close and personal with whatever crosses his path. Jack just has a genuine love for animals, and we are ecstatic to welcome him along with a special friend of his to Delmarva Life today to tell us about what is perhaps the most innovative project that he has backed yet. Jack, thank you so much for joining us. Now, I've got to ask you about this backdrop you've got, but first, tell me what it was that first sparked your love for animals.
Well, I was raised on a farm in Tennessee, loved animals there, obviously as a young little boy, like I'm sure a lot of guys raised on a farm do, but I took it to the next level. I had ducks in the bathtub, I had fish in the commode bowl, I had goats, since I was growing up, and I went to work for veterinarian cleaning cages when I was 11 to 17 and fell in love with the zoo there in Knoxville, and the rest is history. I just worked my way up from a keeper to clean cages to curator, and sometimes I do what I do today. I want to be a keeper, but this is a dream I've always had. Obviously, dreaming to go to Africa as a little boy,
right.
And now having gone out how many times. We have a little house in Africa that because we have a school and orphanages there as well. My wife and I for many years, and I wanted to build something that was Africa. It's taken us 3 years to build this thing.
Yeah.
Years in the planning, by the way. It's because we have the property here right now at the zoo to do this. It's one of the largest zoos in the North American continent, probably one of the largest zoos in the world. Not because we wanted to be large, it's just that we had the land here.
Right.
You can see, by the way, if you come here, I'll personally pay your way. If you take pictures and show your friends, they say you went to Africa. There's no way you can tell the difference with the hills back here, not one tower, not one house, not one building whatsoever, just the beautiful African plains. The lions are over there, sitting there with a moat you cannot see, with the giraffe behind them, wildebeest, gazelle, ostrich, African crowned cranes, all sorts of creatures just right there with them. You cannot tell that the lions aren't in there. Plus, we have a plane over here that held 30 passengers, an old plane from the 1930s, 40s. We put in the lion pen. The people go in the fuselage of the plane, and the lion sits on the wings. That's never been done before.
Wow.
We have a restaurant over there, the big window, and the lion's sitting there 1 foot from you while you're eating your lunch with the big glass windows all over the place. So, and you ride camels when you come here as well when you go to New Africa. So it's a dream that I've lived.
So, Jack, let me ask you this. My understanding is a lot of these animals are endangered. What can be done to help their survival?
Well, you're right. A lot of animals are endangered. And what some people don't realize, when the animal's taken off the endangered species list, that's the greatest day in the world. Some people say, oh my God, it's off the endangered species list. Think about it. Look at our bald eagle. It came back, right? What did we do about the bald eagle? We did stop some DDT or whatever that was. It was affecting their eggs.
Right.
Yes, there's overpopulation throughout the world. But you know what you can do, and this may sound corny to you, it's not just the Columbus Zoo. There are 221 zoos accredited by the American Zoo and Aquarium Association that these folks can visit and understand what the animal world is about. Plus, 98% of our animals today come from other zoos. They do not come from the wild. If I need a cheetah in the wild, I'll take my veterinarian there and collect the egg or the sperm from the animal and come back, or whatever animal it might be. This is not the zoo of the 1950s or 60s in this country. This is a zoo where these animals live better than most people throughout the world. That's
incredible, and the entire place just looks absolutely beautiful. Jack, let me switch gears with you for just a second, and let me ask you about this. There's a new thing going on, especially in European zoos, where some of the zoos are actually taking the animals and killing some of the animals, even in front of onlookers, to feed them to other animals. They're calling it the circle of life. What are your thoughts on that?
That's no circle of life. I've answered this question several times today already, but I don't even have a word for it, I was taught as a little boy, if I have a goat, that goat lives with me till the goat dies.
Right.
At the Columbus Zoo, if an animal comes here, that animal will live here unless it goes on a breeding loan somewhere.
Right.
Somebody in Europe, when I was doing the debates of this whole thing happening, said, well, you Americans have a different culture. Well, thank God we got a different culture. Mm-hmm. To try and kill a giraffe and shoot it and then bring it down there and let the lions eat it, they say, oh, that's like the wild. Let me tell you something, pal. I've been to the wild before you've never been to the wild. This guy's saying he doesn't have any idea what it's like in the wild.
Yeah.
Plus those animals, he did that too. He did, the lions later, they ate the giraffe, he did that to those. And they said that's our practice. Well, let me tell you, we pulled all of our breeding loons from those zoos.
Right.
This zoo will have nothing to do with a zoo that takes these animals and does what they did. It's uncalled for. People come here to learn about the animals, not to sit here and say it's like they don't even know what a kill in the Serengeti plain looks like. That's not how it looks, by the way. So we do not practice that and never will. So. Right. It's just something that they do over there, but all of our breeding loans have been pulled. But the main thing is also, Betty White flew in here. She's a dear friend of mine, not because she's who she is or what she does or anything like that. In 1979, she came to this zoo. We've been buddies ever since. She loves this zoo, but she hadn't been back. She's 92 years old, right? She sat up here and looked at the African veldt where the lions were sitting there, the giraffe in the background. We couldn't pull her away. She had a tear in her eye and said, Jack, this is the heart of Africa. I don't have to go anymore. And you come here, I guarantee you, you take the picture, your friends think you went to Africa.
That's awesome. America's favorite zookeeper, Jack Hanna, in the heart of Africa. Thank you so much. Before I let you go, though, I got to ask, you have dealt with so many animals over the years. Is there any one particular experience that stands out to you?
My wife.
Jack, I got nothing to say to
That's
that.
funny.
You know that, right?
Anyway. Yeah, no, she's not here.
Oh, okay.
No, as far as animals that stand out, that's hard to say because whether it's diving with sharks in the South Pacific, there's tiger sharks, or whether it's watching a cobra, I'm fascinated by snakes, or the leaf cutter ants, or the elephant, or the lion. You know, all these animals I've worked with all my life, it's just, I wish I could answer that question. Yeah, I get excited when I see a deer in Montana or a bear in the wild. I go nuts, because it's just phenomenal that these animals have been here way before man. And, to see that out in the wild, like right here, they don't have, a lot of these people can't go anywhere. They can't go to Africa.
Yeah.
I wish everybody could do that. But it's expensive, number one. Number two, some countries aren't safe. So, this is what they do right here. And I promise you, they're seeing Africa today. And the cheetah, we have a cheetah run here. The cheetahs go 50 miles an hour, a couple, 3 times a day.
Wow.
You won't believe it to watch it.
Jack Hanna, you always get close to the animals. Ever been bit?
Have I ever been bit? Yep. But I don't talk about it because it's like a race car wrecking a car, and I'm so AT&T, ADH, whatever it's called, I get too hyper. And so sometimes I get excited. Yeah, but if I'm bit, it's my fault,
Right.
You could ask anybody that's hurting this business, and we try to have safety of the animal and respect the animal.
Right.
And, it's just certain things. Doing this for 40 years, a beaver almost took my thumb off, a beaver on the
my
David
goodness.
Letterman show. That's a bad bite, buddy.
That is a bad
Yep.
bite. Jack Hanna,
You ever
thank you.
been bitten by a beaver?
I'm not messing with your beaver.
Yeah.
Okay. Jack Hanna, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. If you'd like to read more about Jack and his mission to help animals, or for some fun animal facts, all you have to do is go to WBOC.com and click on our picture at the top of the page. Still ahead on Delmarva Life, we've been hearing bits and pieces from this husband and wife duo. We are so excited to have them back, and we're going to get a full performance next. Beauty for Ashes, take us to break.